Chiefs lose in Lambeau 27-19 to the Green Bay Packers, falling to 8-4 and out of the race for the first seed in the AFC, squandering another opportunity, squandering perhaps a Patrick Mahomes season. Kent Swanson, Maddie Lane, Craig Stout, KCSN Live Postgame Show, brought to you by the Kingdom Bar and Grill. Maddie, I am so angry at so many different things right now. I don't even know where to begin. And we've just got chill vibes, Maddie, here right now. What up?
Yeah. I mean, they've been trending towards being this team all year, so I don't know why we're surprised. I mean, the Chiefs defense, unfortunately, this week had their worst game of the year, but one, they had a lot of unfortunate injuries that led to this point. I don't want to make excuses for all of that, but they had a bad defensive game, and the offense was finally kind of maybe starting to do stuff a little bit, and then they kind of fell apart in the same ways they always do. I don't know. I'm very upset, but I also have been expecting this game for a long time from the Chiefs. And I said it before this game. I don't trust this team to go in and beat a not good Packers team in December because I don't think this Chiefs team's that good. And I think it just played out that way again. So I'm not as mad as you are. It's because I've kind of been waiting on this game. I don't know where Craig stands here.
The defense played really badly. Matt LaFleur had their number all game long. Yes, the injuries did not help, but it wasn't gonna matter. They had them dead to rights for most of this game, kept them in the base defense. It's stuff that we've been talking about with this defense, the few fatal flaws that they had. You keep them in a base defense, you can have your way with them a little bit in the passing game, especially when you've got now a backup linebacker, a backup safety. You're getting deep into your depth chart there, not making those excuses, because I think that this would have gone that way anyway. It's just, season-long trends. The Packers were able to lean into it. Matt LaFleur called a really good game. Chiefs defense finally looked vulnerable. And, the Chiefs offense just couldn't get anything going in the red zone. Timely turnover at the end of the game yet again. And, you walk away from this one feeling like one slipped through their fingers a little bit.
Again. And it slipped through the receiver's hands again. I don't know. I don't even know where to draw my ire right now. I want to be mad at the refs because the refs were horrendous. And
they were horrendous both ways too.
Sure. Well, no, but it took them until the fourth quarter to call like Maddie called it, a live ball penalty on him. And there were some really bad holding calls. Creed Humphrey did not hold him. I'm sorry. Some of these calls were I'm not going to try to be too ref guy. Game-changing call to tackle him. And here's the problem is the Chiefs need them. The problem is the Chiefs need all those breaks. They need calls they need them to be made.
Against the Packers.
Against the Green Bay Packers, the 7th seed in the NFC.
That's the problem.
That's
the big problem.
They need
them. You can't get behind the sticks with this offense anymore. You can't have situations where you have penalties. They are crucial. They are backbreaking, and every single one that doesn't go the Chiefs' way is backbreaking for this team because it is so arduous to get to move the ball on offense.
And this is even a game where they actually had negative plays that they overcame. This is by far the Chiefs' best performance overcoming negative plays on the offensive side of the ball. But the thing is, though, they still just need every little break they can get. And that's how come all of a sudden these penalties that don't go the Chiefs' way or the no calls that don't go the Chiefs' way seem like they're such a bigger deal. They are so much more backbreaking now because it's not just, they'll figure it out. It's not just that's where the issue is. And I think that's why there's a lot more ire this year about the refs. It's because every single little itty bitty play that goes against the Chiefs and their momentum feels like it devastates this team. It feels like an anchor. It feels like they're adding more weight to an anchor that is dragging them down. Whereas in years past, you're like, that sucks. That's really annoying. Guess what? They're still going to get it right back one way or the other. And that same feeling isn't there. So the referee sucked. And that last no call on MVS getting tackled, that's really bad. That one gets through, but it did. And the Chiefs lost the game or were in position to lose the game well before that though.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't even know where to, I don't know if I want to start at the beginning, the end, the middle. I don't know. All I know is there's so many things to be frustrated about. Isaiah Pacheco punches a guy on a live ball play. That if that punch does not occur, the Chiefs have the ball at the 35-yard line with 50 seconds left. Like, this team is doing unbelievable things to shoot themselves in the foot. And it's all across the board. It's even their best players. It's Travis Kelce against the Eagles fumbling in the red zone. It's Isaiah Pacheco, the best player on the field tonight, making a boneheaded mistake in minute 59 of the game and pushing this team back to the 50-yard line. The play calling changes drastically if you're sitting at the 35 with 50 seconds left rather than 50 seconds left at the 50. Just so many dumb little things. Is it time to complain about Sky Moore stopping to run the slot fade rub route that some people are having the audacity to blame Patrick Mahomes for? And I'm sorry, I'm fired up. You're all wrong. I saw the quotes. You're wrong. You're unbelievably wrong. You have no clue what you're talking about. The route, the Mahomes threw the ball with Keyshawn Nixon's back turned to him. And if Sky Moore continues up the field, Keyshawn Nixon, who can't see the football, has to continue to run up the field to defend the vertical route. But Sky Moore slowed down and allowed Keyshawn Nixon to get back into that play. They had him dead to rights.
Even still, there's so much with that play. I think that play highlights everything that's wrong with the wide receivers and also why it's very difficult to talk about some of the nuance of what's wrong with the Chiefs wide receiver room and the passing game, because that play, first of all, is an RPO. That ball has to come out when it did. You can't wait any longer. You're getting an illegal man downfield penalty. The offensive line's already moving downfield. Creed Humphrey's past the line of scrimmage and the ball's let go. So you can't hold that ball. That ball has to be thrown. Receiver Rice runs a hitch, blanketed. Sky Moore's running a fade route off of it. Not only is, RPO, ball's got to come out quick. Not only does he stutter his release and take a little while to get off the line of scrimmage, as soon as he clears Rice, to Kent's point, he stops running. And as soon as he stops running, that's when the Green Bay defender is able to stop, look back and say, oh, there's the ball going over there. He then has to run and cross the path that Sky Moore should be on. He crosses over it to get to the ball that is on the outside shoulder of Sky Moore. Sky Moore could do nothing but run straight down the field, and that's not an interception. He doesn't catch it, but it's not an interception. He doesn't have to play the ball. He doesn't have to look for the ball. He doesn't have to catch it. If he just runs up the field, it is not an interception because the DB will never get across his body to get to the football. There's a chance he catches it because, like Kent said, the DB has to honor the vertical route. If Sky Moore runs, that's a back shoulder throw. That throw is on the back shoulder, back outside shoulder of Sky Moore. It's not upfield of Sky Moore if he just runs. But that's what I think that's what the part of the people missing. He stops running, so it makes it look like the throw's out in front of him. It's not. It is his back shoulder. And the only reason the DB gets there is because Sky Moore stutters and then stops running as soon as he goes out the fade. And Mahomes doesn't have time to wait to figure out what Sky Moore is going to do.
Because the ball's gone. The ball was gone. The read was there. It was it was 100% a back shoulder fade. Keyshawn Nixon's back is turned, and he has to honor the vertical as long as Sky Moore is getting upfield. Literally, Sky Moore's stutter brings Keyshawn Nixon to the football. I'm not sure Keyshawn Nixon even actually saw the ball. He just kind of stuck his hands out. He just kind of just put him out there to see what happens. I don't know if he actually even located the football. It was a horrendous mistake again by Sky Moore. And I don't know if this is a Monday conversation or if this is a today conversation, but I'm fired up. I'm as fired up as I've been in a long freaking time.
And it came right after MVS running a seam route in which he said, oh, hey, look at this, all this open space straight in front of me. Instead of running straight forward to this open space, why don't I go run towards that defender there? Maybe he forgot that he changed teams. He thought he was going to give a teammate a high five. That's what happened. He forgot he wasn't on the Packers. MVS literally just ran away from open space to get himself covered. It's like those two plays back to back in the second half. I think that highlights everything that's wrong with this team. And I think it's becoming more and more clear game after game that I don't want to say anybody is scheming up everything great, that any particular player is playing perfect or anything like that. But it's pretty clear what the problem is, right? It's pretty clear that the issue is the wide receivers don't know how to play wide receiver at all.
This team is bordering on failing Patrick Mahomes in one of your Patrick Mahomes seasons and wasting one of your Patrick Mahomes seasons. I don't know. There's a lot of people that saw this giant iceberg coming this offseason, which is why we spent a ton of time talking about the lack of wide receiver consistency and the concern. And what happened? They have no answer. It is December. There's no time. It's December. You don't have time. You've blown past the bye week. You've blown past training camp and you have no answers. But you traded for Mecole Hardman at the deadline. That is probably going to prove to help. Oh, wait. Craig Stout is also here, by the way.
Hi,
Craig, do you have any energy to rage at all, or is this like a sobering time where you're gonna like just bring us all down?
I mean, it's the same thing that it always has been. Like it is. This is the same offense that it always has been. I can't muster up any more, negative energy. Did you guys know that Patrick Mahomes is 6th in the league in lowest intended air yards? That's Patrick Mahomes. That's an Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes offense. Here are the guys in front of him right now: Tyson Bagent, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, Joe Burrow, Bryce Young, and Daniel Jones.
Still better than Burrow.
He has fewer intended air yards than Mac Jones did for the Patriots this season. That's what this offense is. And that's what we see. That's why it's so hard to overcome little mistakes. It's why we are viewing every wide receiver under the microscope, because every little mistake counts in so much of a bigger way than it ever has before. They can't overcome some of these mistakes. So when Sky Moore runs a wrong route, when MVS runs a wrong route,
in the most important moments,
when Rashee Rice double clutches a catch and isn't able to get out of his break and get as many yards as we need him to, when Isaiah Pacheco bounces on a 2-point conversion again after being the best offensive player in Kansas City this week, after he bounces a 2-point conversion. Those are uncorrectable things for this offense at this point. It just is, because everything
MVS is Craig's age. Like he at this point, like
it's everything short and everything condensed, and everything has to require a level of execution and a level of precision that this team doesn't have. And the one guy that held them accountable on offense over the past 6-7 years is now in Washington. So it has sustained now through 13 weeks of the NFL season.
That's scary to how that's going.
That's where we are. And yeah, it's not like Washington's great or anything like that.
I know.
But like that dude would be drilling down. Hey, we're going to run a whole bunch of screens. Guess what? We're going to run these screens until they're perfect. Not come out there and half-ass some of this stuff. Not come out there and miss assignments. Not come out there and fail to pick some of this stuff up. It's why they're not explosive. It's why they're not doing it, because everything's a tick off. And when you have the depth of target, you are dumbing things down and everything's a tick off. Your offense just looks like this. And it doesn't really matter who the opponent is, because you shoot yourself in the foot by making it that easy on the opposing defense.
And the most annoying part is that, like, and again, I don't want to say anybody's playing perfect, but like we have to talk, we're talking about this team. We're going to talk about them week in and week out, because this team has Patrick Mahomes. They can still win any single game that's out there. But you have so many that have to deal with is Patrick Mahomes playing poorly? Is Patrick Mahomes playing bad? Like it's just so far from what the realistic point is. This team, with even just average quarterback play, is struggling to be 500 this year, like bar none. Like they would barely make it to 500 the way these wide receivers are playing and not being able to catch a football or run routes. So it's a difficult spot to be in, to have the most talented player in all of football, who's not playing like the best player in football, but he's not playing poor by any means. He's still one of the best 2 or 3 quarterbacks in the NFL this year. And you just never get to see it. He never gets to look like that, because they can't run a functioning offense, because they have wide receivers that literally don't belong in the NFL the way they're playing right now.
I have a hard time believing the player that has got better every single season of his career, who has ascended to new heights, all of a sudden just forgot how to football. I don't throw the blame on the feet of at the feet of Patrick Mahomes. I refuse to do it. I think it's ridiculous. I think we are watching a failure of him. There's only he does so much, and we've seen this man literally win a Super Bowl on a high ankle sprain. But they left the cupboard bare. And it might be Chris Jones' problem. It might be a Chris Jones fault for dragging his feet in his stupid contract negotiations all offseason and leaving this team with an inability to really make adjustments to their offseason plans. It might be partially him. And if so, I'm going to be fuming. If it ever gets out that happened, don't, Craig.
I'm just saying. Could be that the front office also didn't start that conversation until too late.
Well, I'm glad they didn't
just lay it at the feet of the player here.
I'm glad. I have a hard time the Chiefs wanted to be held hostage by Chris Jones' contract situation all offseason. I have a hard time believing that.
They did it with Orlando Brown Jr. the year before. Go off, please.
Well, he was tagged and he played. He was tagged and he played. They had it. So I don't know if this team actively actually thought that this wide receiver group was going to be good enough. If they were held hostage by the Chris Jones situation, having a lack of cap flexibility, I don't know what the answer is. But both of them suck, and both of them aren't good enough. I'm unbelievable. I can't believe this is as mad as I've been since the Chiefs got drubbed 47-3 or whatever against the Titans 3 years ago. This is as mad as I've been. Do you want to talk a little bit about the defense?
We'll get there. Hey, hold on. There's some positives on the offensive side of the ball. They ran the hell out of the football today.
That they did.
They ran the hell out of football. And if you're somebody sitting here saying, I don't want to blame Sky Moore or MVS for their terrible play at wide receiver and the fact that they don't belong in an NFL field, okay, you can blame the coaching staff for stopping to run the football the second and the third last drives because the Packers couldn't stop it. Now, I think they were throwing more bodies at the box. That's how come, when Mahomes pulls the RPO that Sky Moore just completely forgets how to, again, play wide receiver. That's how come they had to pull it, was because it was, they loaded the box. They gave him a pass look. But the Chiefs stopped running the ball when it mattered. That is on the coaching staff. That is not on any of the players. That's on the coaching staff because Wanya Morris stepped in for Donovan Smith and he was whooping ass as a run blocker. And he was fine as a pass protector going up against Preston Smith and getting some reps against Rashawn Gary. He was absolutely fine. I thought the offensive line as a whole played pretty good outside that first series. Yeah, there was some unfortunate sacks in the red zone, but outside that first series where it was a little bit, we had a couple plays here and there, I thought they played a really good game against a good Packers defensive line. They gave Patrick Mahomes time. No wide receiver can get open because, again, they can't play wide receiver, but then they ran the ball and they ran it really well. And they kind of stuck to their basic runs. A lot of zone runs, a lot of inside, a lot of outside zone. So offensive line played really good in a big challenge. They played more than good enough to win, and Wanya Moore stepped right in and outplayed any game of Donovan Smith this year. I'll have to rewatch to make sure, but Donovan Smith has been bad this year. And I think Wanya Morris was a plus run blocker and completely fine as a pass blocker in this game.
Yeah, Wanya Morris looked really good. That was fun. Isaiah Pacheco, ran really hard. There were some wide open holes for him to hit, and we got to see what happens when that's the case. The interior offensive line played really well in the run game. It's why Isaiah Pacheco ends up 6.1 yards per carry with a long of 26. That's outrageously good. You would kill for that, especially when you run the ball 25 times on the day, including the Mahomes scrambles, 25 times on the day for 5.9 yards per carry. That's enough. That is more than enough in an Andy Reid offense. You're running the ball 25 times a game for 5.9 yards a carry. Your run game's working. Sure, lean on it a little bit more. The Green Bay Packers were not doing a particularly good job with it. The interior of the Chiefs offensive line was doing an excellent job of it. But at the time when they were kind of moving away from it, the offense was still moving the ball. Guys, Tommy Townsend didn't punt till the fourth quarter. They were scoring points. Now, the red zone wasn't great, and that holding call on Creed is not great. But
terrible. It was an awful call. But that's not why the Chiefs lost.
That's not why the Chiefs lost.
Awful call.
But it was a scenario where a lot of things were working. Now, it was still requiring precision. It was still requiring a lot from this offense and some vintage Patrick Mahomes moments. Him stepping up through the pocket, getting hit on that third and crazy long to find Travis Kelce in the middle of the field was outrageously awesome. We have not seen enough of that this year. That's the type of stuff that was game in, game out. They'd figure out ways to do that. Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, that connection would work. But with nobody else that's a threat and nobody else that's out there, it makes it hard for Andy Reid, the guy who wants to throw the ball, and Patrick Mahomes, who is the best quarterback in the world and maybe in the history of the game, to say, you know what? We're going to load up a 35-run game. And we are going to line up. We are going to just let the clock run, and we're going to see where the chips may fall. That's not how this offense is built. That's not how the playbook is built. I know that people are going to disagree with that, but that's where it is right now. So they're going to keep throwing it, and they're going to keep throwing it to these bad wide receivers, and it's going to keep having some of the intended or some of the unintended effects of throwing the ball to them. But in instances like this, where we do get to see the offensive line lean on them a little more, 25 carry game, and it looks this good, it makes you want a little more, understandably.
I'm counting right now. I think Isaiah Pacheco had one. Did they run the ball one time in the fourth quarter? Pacheco only has one run in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think so. That's what I said. They went away from it there. It was a short run, and like the Packers, I think, started throwing numbers at it.
They were not. There was no run pass read on one of those runs. It was just like they were all in. They were all downhill. It was like absurd. Like they're just like they knew it was a first down run. They knew it was coming, and they just reared back and just teed
the
off.
Last one. Isaiah Pacheco, 2-yard run. There was a deep pass that was incomplete to MVS that we talked about already, the one where he got turned around, didn't know what he was doing. Then the Richie James play where the safety ran over him on third down, no call. Then the next time this happens, they throw to Rashee Rice, 9-yard play. They throw to Rashee Rice again, DPI, and then the pick. And then I think, everything just kind of ran away from that point.
Yeah.
So that's bad. It was. I agree. Like they started throwing the ball too much, and that's what happens is when you put the ball in the hands of your worst players, bad things tend to happen, especially when you're trailing.
They had 8 guys in the box. I mean, on the pick, they had 8 guys in the box. The Reed guy crashed. Like you have to pull it. It's an RPO. Like you have to pull that. I'm saying
it's just frustrating.
They called a run adjacent play. Like I'm calling it run adjacent because there's an option to get out of it. It's just they called a run adjacent play. The Packers played run. The Chiefs pulled it out the pass. It's just the lack of running game down the stretch, I agree, was frustrating. I also see the avenue how they got there because they had MVS open. Are we really mad? I mean, maybe we're mad that MVS is getting that throw there, but are we really mad the Chiefs had a wide open player running down the field, probably a touchdown, if not a 40-point play? If he, again, can play NFL wide. No, I take that back. If he can play D1 wide receiver, they have a touchdown, a walk-in touchdown. And it's like, we can't get that mad about it. The next play, again, if Sky Moore just runs, again, play like a D1 wide receiver, you don't throw an interception. It's like, I don't know how mad we can actually be about the lack of runs, but it was interesting to see that they got away from it because they were running the ball super well.
And if this team is going to win in January, which is becoming a bigger if than it should be, because of they've MVS and Sky Moore, they've got to make some plays. Like they're gonna have to start making some plays.
Incapable.
You might be right, but they have to have these guys do something. Like they have to, and they haven't. And so Mahomes, like people are mad, like Mahomes is going to Sky Moore. They don't have any other. Like this is what they have. This is what they chose. This is the life they chose. This is what they decided to go into the offseason with. This was their decision. They're going to have these guys make some plays here. They're going to have these guys do this. And so they're either going to fail like they have all season to this point, or they're going to rise up and they're going to figure something out and be enough for this team to go out and do stuff and achieve the not waste a season of Patrick Mahomes' career. We're going to take a break. We'll be back right after this.
We're as prepared as the Chiefs wide receivers.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network.
So it's December, and we'll get back to raging, but can we be kind for like 1 minute here, please? And if you are angry and you want to make, an irrational decision and donate a ton of money to the Soul of KCSN raffle, that would be absolutely wonderful. Please consider donating to that. You have a little bit of time left. There's only, I think, a few days left to donate, but you get entered into a raffle to win a bunch of incredible Chiefs prizes, signed helmets, signed jerseys. Holiday Distillery stepped up with an incredible package. Some gift cards, all kinds of great prizes. One ticket is for $20, 5 tickets for $50, 15 tickets for $100. All the proceeds go to Operation Breakthrough. And when I tell you all the proceeds go to Operation Breakthrough, I mean, it's one of the most efficient charities I've ever seen. All that money gets back to them. Like it's very much we are doing everything we can to get every single dollar to Operation Breakthrough. Those kids absolutely need it. It's that time of year. Please consider donating. Really would appreciate it. There's a link in the description of this show. If you want to donate, you can Venmo our KC Sports Network, or you can go to givebutter.com/KCSN.
Throw the money in there. We are approaching
Please.
20K. Throw it in there. All of that money is going to presents for kids who cannot afford that stuff at this time of year. It is a wonderful thing to do. I am so excited to get to go and take part in all of that. It is literally the best thing that we do here at KCSN. So if you're feeling generous today, throw some money our way.
Thank you all that are listening, subscribing. Thank you everybody that has donated in the past. You want to talk about your defense, Craig?
Sure, it's mine now because they weren't great. It was all of ours beforehand.
Yep.
And not great. Definitely had moments where, first of all, off the top, I feel awful for Brian Cook. Just absolutely awful. We obviously don't know the severity of that injury. It did not look good. Carted off. One of the only safeties that has played well in the past few weeks, and that was continuing tonight until he got injured there. Drew Tranquil getting, hit in the head with that knee/quad by AJ Dillon. That's like getting hit in the head with a sledgehammer. Hopefully he will be okay, and that concussion is not going to linger. Charles Omenihu goes down with a little bit of injury there. There was a lot of stuff that was happening. DBs couldn't keep their feet. Trent McDuffie was playing on ice skates all night long, so his typical run support action that he typically brings wasn't there. He wasn't able to put his foot in the ground and really stick in and do some of that. You saw Joshua Williams mistime a jump on a touchdown pass there. You see 3 Chiefs defenders basically stand and watch a lollipop on 4th and short as Chris Jones gets his hand on Jordan Love. Just basically sit there and watch it kind of fall in between. Again, looks like everybody lost it in the lights. Sounds like a lot of excuses, but as I said up top, Matt LaFleur had these guys' heads spinning. They did not know where things were coming from. The run game was so effective for the Green Bay Packers because the Chiefs were overrunning everything. We're trying to get to places that the ball wasn't. Trent McDuffie had a bad one late in the game there where he was absolutely collapsing down as he was the 4th defender, running the alley, and completely missed that the running back had the ball. There were a couple of plays. Leo Chanel in the flat usually is a terror out there, broke down too early and allows a big play there. Honestly, one of the few guys that I thought played well that was, not on the defensive line was Jack Cochrane coming in there as the green dot. You were asking him to handle a lot in a little amount of time, and he was one of the few guys that was playing behind the line of scrimmage. I'm not saying he was great, but he was making some stuff happen. He was rallying to the ball. He was hitting people. And on a day where this normal Chiefs defense does that really well, they just weren't doing it. Cochrane was one of the few guys that was out there handling business.
Yeah, It's interesting because I do agree the Packers generally had the Chiefs number, but that's something that the Chiefs have avoided. They haven't let offenses be the one to dictate the game, and they were kind of letting the Packers do that from the get-go. And so I don't know what the rationale for that was. I don't know how we got there. Was it the Packers came out with a little bit heavier personnel and made the Chiefs play in base? But this is only, I don't know, the 8th team to do that to the Chiefs this year. You think they would have better answers. So it was really interesting that this Packers team was able to make the Chiefs play on their Chiefs defense play on their heels for as long as they did. I get it. Once Tranquil went out, the Packers actually did some really cool stuff. Going to that hurry up on in between 2nd and 3rd down, forcing Cochran to make these calls and they weren't making anything. They were running the most basic stuff at that point in time. So like, I don't want to excuse how the defense played because I got real issues with what they did, but I also think that it was really hard to make adjustments on the fly once you also lost Drew Tranquil and you're left with kind of Willie Gay, Leo Chenal, and then Cochran. And Cochran was the guy they trusted over Leo Chenal and Willie Gay to make the calls too. That's got to be noted. So there's a little bit of excuse built in for the defense. Simultaneously, the defensive line didn't even show up till the mid-3rd quarter.
Nope.
Yeah.
They didn't show up until way late in the game. That was rough. And more so not, the Packers are one of the few teams, and it only happened a few times, but they just challenged the DBs. They said, hey, you might be in kind of good coverage, but we don't think you're going to stay there. Here, stop this catch. And they didn't really do it. They didn't do it that often. And like, that's the issue. This defensive backfield's played great, but every now and then they have these times where they're just challenged. And we see it with Trent McDuffie plenty with a lack of length. We see it with L'Jarius Sneed being overly handsy. We see it with Watson and Williams just quite simply not being quality starter level when they have to play the ball. And this Packers team just said, hey, we're going to challenge you guys to play the football. You're going to go cover this guy one-on-one. Let's see if you can do it. And unfortunately, they couldn't do it that often. The only time they had success is when Spags finally got Jordan Love feeling a little flustered, rolling out of the pocket early. Spags is the one that had to lead to everything. The players on the field weren't the ones getting the stops. It was Spags. And like, that's not where this defense has been this year. It's been both sides of it. And I think that kind of became a problem yet again, when clearly the Packers were doing something to impact Spags, output on the play or impact on the game.
Yeah, the Chiefs can't line up and rush the passer. Like they don't do it consistently enough. I don't think they get enough pressure. I mean, Chris Jones, I'm glad they didn't lock him into a long-term extension. He's still good. Don't get me wrong. He still impacted this game, but I'm glad they didn't lock him into a long-term extension. I don't know. They got, I mean, the biggest Irish, I still don't draw too much of the ire towards the defense. Like I'm still frustrated with some of it for sure. Losing Drew Tranquil right off the bat was a real rough. Like that's tough. Losing Brian Cook, tough. Like definitely some excuses there built in for sure. But I don't know. I'm not blaming the defense as much as I am for the other side of the ball, but yeah, I have my concerns about this team's ability to rush the passer.
Well, it's the fact that this is now, through the first quarter and a couple of minutes of the Raiders game last week, the defense didn't look good. And then, you get all the way through this game, and in the second half, they were okay. But that first half was bad. They had the worst defensive success rate of the season in the first quarter. Like they had 2 wins, 2 plays that were a quote unquote positive result for the defense. They got ahead of the sticks. They were just short yardage plays. Like that's all it was. The Packers were able to just line up and basically say, hey, we're going to go out. We're going to get 5-6 yards.
They're going to bully them. Like
they were going to bully them. And they did. The Chiefs gave up 7.9 yards per play on second down today. So even when they did have a decent first down, A.J. Dillon would run for 8. Christian Watson on an end around would get 8. Christian Watson on a little corner route or, a little out route would get 10, 11, 12. It was just too easy. Jordan Love was not coming off of his first read. Jordan Love was not having to, play quarterback on the macro level because everything was schemed up for him. I'm not trying to take away from Love. He was good today. Until the fourth quarter, I believe he had 2 incompletions on the day. He was good. But it was easy mode because the Chiefs didn't know where it was coming from, couldn't stay in phase, and even when they were, they just couldn't make a play on the ball. And so when you got a run game that's working, you can't really stop the pass. Like it's it's a long, long, long day. And it just kind of compounded for the first time this season into a full game performance where the Chiefs defense couldn't do enough to help their offense.
I got a couple of quotes coming in here from Patrick Mahomes if you want to hear them.
Sure.
Can we pivot real quick, or do you have a ton more on the defense that you really want to get into, or
no? We can do some quotes.
Okay. Patrick Mahomes on his interception, can't make that mistake. I probably should have tried to back shoulder Sky. That's a mistake on my part. And then follows up with, on the no call on Marquez Valdes-Scantling, I got to make the throw, is what Mahomes says. He is just like, he is just like covering for everyone right now.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's
What
like,
else is he going to say? Is he going to come out and torch the wide receivers? What good does that do?
I respect him so much for doing that because, like, come on, like we you know, we need to you know, he deserves a lot of credit for how he's handling all this, because that's just, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, he's always going to say that. And when Andy Reid talks about it and probably has to talk about those things, whether it's, you know, I don't think he mentioned it today. He'll probably get asked sometime this week, maybe tomorrow, whenever it is, about it. I think that he'll just find a way to say it's a miscommunication and move on. Cause like no one is going to take the weakest part of the team and throw them under the bus. Cause like, that's not going to help them in any way, shape, or form. Now, I think to Craig's point to start the show, this is where you need somebody like, I don't know, Eric Bieniemy, who's going to take them privately and be like, hey, you're screwing up. This is unacceptable. And whether that's to Mahomes or to the wide receiver or to anybody on the team, I don't think they have somebody that does that. Let's say in this world where Mahomes didn't throw the ball to Sky Moore's back shoulder, somebody has to go tell him like, hey, you have to do this instead, or whatever it might be instead. Do we think Matt Nagy's doing that? I don't know. Right. But from everything I've seen from Matt Nagy as an offensive coordinator, as a head coach and offensive coordinator, again, he's a lot more buddy. He's a lot more having a conversation. I'm not saying he's bad at it. That's a different conversation, but he's a friend to everybody. He's not getting on them about their execution. I don't know if that works as great with Andy Reid, who's kind of like that. He's not the guy that like he gets on people and holds them accountable, but not in the same way. So I don't know. I don't know what it is. I expect everybody to put the blame onto a nothing burger or onto Patrick Mahomes, because that's what they have done for the past 6 years. They're not going to blame anybody else for anything.
You guys want to hear a couple positives? Just real quick.
I guess.
Kent,
no.
Take a seat, buddy. Just real quick.
Kent, pop your headphones out real quick. We got this.
I want to shout out Zach Tuttle and Keith Phipps for your donations to the KCSN Foundation as part of the Soul of KC raffle. Thank you guys. Zach Tuttle, Keith Phipps. We love you guys. Thank you for donating.
I didn't know it was going to be donation related.
I did. Hey, Maddie's the one who told you to take
I pulled the headphones out and I listened. I could still hear. And I was like, oh, well, this is actual good news. Where we go from here, fellas? This one's yeah.
The draft.
I mean, you go on to Buffalo. You have a chance to hopefully end Buffalo's season, and you know what would make this team feel a lot better about themselves? Going and beating Buffalo. And especially if the offense looks okay and the defense looks like it did before. All is not lost. The Chiefs are going to win the AFC West. It's still happening. So they are a playoff team, and what matters is getting hot at the right time. Not that I'm saying they're going to get hot, but a good way to get your mojo back is to go beat this one team that everybody keeps getting ready to crown, even though they are on the outside in looking on the playoffs. Go end it. Go end their season. Make them feel bad. Get your mojo back. You've got an opportunity to do it. Luckily, they're not playing the Patriots this week, because you beat the hell out of the Patriots. What good does it do? Everybody's going to stand around and be like, yeah, we were supposed to do that. We were supposed to go in and handle business. Go beat the Bills. Go make yourself feel better.
Bills Chiefs has immediately become a turning point moment for both teams in Arrowhead.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yep.
That is great.
So go handle business. If you can't get up for that game, then you're not getting up for the playoffs. So go out and handle business.
Yeah. I guess so. Another quote from Patrick Mahomes on Wanye Morris. He stepped up. I'm proud of him. That's a big spot in a big game in a great stadium. Yeah, I thought Wanye Morris was good.
Wanye was really good.
And I thought, I know Donovan Smith's been playing through some injuries too. Like, in credit to him, like he did it all last year, right?
Rest him.
Huh?
Rest Donovan then. If he's playing through injuries, give him some time.
Yeah. Oh, rest him. Okay. Sorry.
Him. Yeah.
I thought I heard Preston, like you were correcting me to Preston Smith.
No.
Although sure for the Green Bay Packers. You know. But yeah, no, I thought Wanye played well, which was great, which is good to see. And yeah, I mean, he deserves some credit, and like Mahomes is gonna do the things that he does at the press at the podium. That's gonna give Wanye confidence, and he should have confidence because he played well. He had a good game. All right. Anything else, Maddie? Anything you want to get to, Matt?
No.
You're
mad. I'm just done. You're mad. I'm just done. Like I'm at the point now where I need time to reset my expectations for this team. I'm at that point. And so like, what's the point of keep beating them down over this game that happened? And it showed every single weakness that has been very clear throughout
every game, every time they've lost.
And it's weak.
Not even when they lost, even when they've won.
It's not changing. Like it's just not changing. We've been saying that for weeks, but if it didn't hammer it home this week, it's not getting through. It's not changing.
Yeah. I think that's part of the frustration, right? Is there's a lot of people out there that are just like, oh, it's the Chiefs. And they're going to figure it out. They're going to, this is what they do. They always find answers. Where are they? It's the same old. 30-year-old Marquez Valdez-Scantling's not going to figure out how to read middle field close coverage. He's just not.
Yeah, but what if he did?
But what if he does? All right. So this small rant. This is the exact same mentality that got this team into this position, because we would hear all these things like, "Oh, well, what if MVS takes a step? What if Sky Moore all of a sudden knows how to do and is capable of doing things he's never shown the ability to do, even in college?" Why are we like all of a sudden like the Chiefs are just someone's gonna become a complete receiver when they've got a lot of like narrow skill set guys in their room? Like this is the mentality. This is the mentality that gets you here. It's like, well, you can't trust MVS to do anything. Except he helped the Packers tonight. And if you ask Packers fans, this is the first time he's ever done that. I don't know.
Yeah, so it's just I think it's just a completely resetting of expectations. Like it's just what it is. That this team somehow, because the NFL seems to be slightly down this year, maybe has a chance to win the Super Bowl. But like, I know going into this game, if they won it, they were going to be technically the favorites or something. But like, we watch the games, right? Like this is like, we can watch the games and say this team to win a Super Bowl needs a lot of breaks to go their way. Not only to like getting there, but like in each and every single game. So like, it's just resetting the expectations that this team might not be a Super Bowl favorite. And they're one of those teams on the outside that can make a run when things go right. And the problem is they're running out of time to fix the issues. The issues have been the same. It is what it is. So it's just resetting your expectations that this team would be kind of like one of those, I don't want to say miracle, but like those long shot Super Bowl kind of runs. And this team hasn't been there for 4 or 5 years now. And that's a different mindset. So you go at it from that approach and you're maybe not beating them down as much as we are after a Packers game or anything like that. But it's just, you got to get there. And it takes a little bit to get there. Cause like this game finally, I think can push a hope. I mean, not hopefully, but like hope pushed me there. It's just, I got to reset it mentally and get away from just thinking they're going to be in the Super Bowl and probably win because they have Mahomes. Clearly there's a certain level of capable NFL player that you have to have with them that they don't have.
The only thing that I'm angry about is we're going to spend an entire offseason again talking about pass catchers for this team again. Hopefully in a more positive light than we were this past offseason. But
3 straight years.
3 straight years that we're doing that when we should be talking about defense.
No. Okay. Well, I feel better. I think
I'm glad you do, buddy. I'm glad you do.
The pressure in my head's gone away a little bit. I think I'm good to go if you guys are good to go. Tomorrow's going to be fun as we let this fester and sit and simmer. I can't wait. But what an awful loss. Awful loss. Just terrible. At least it was an NFC opponent. Like, so if we really want to be optimistic,
I'm not taking any moral victories off of this one.
Oh, it's not a
This
moral
is bad.
victory. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you, like, they still hold a lot of tiebreakers, even though they don't hold the loss column tiebreaker right now because they lost to the Green Bay Packers in embarrassing fashion with the same problems that have ailed them the entire season, and they don't have answers for it. I can't wait to play the Bills next week, who are just as desperate. How did I not get? Maybe I don't feel better. I don't know. I'm frustrated, but that's going to do it for this episode of the KCSN postgame show. Chiefs lose 27-19. We love y'all. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Get well soon, people.